Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night, and we're going to cover progression on the planet, progression in certain areas, and how to not be seduced into this rhetoric, this dog and pony show that you see everywhere. It's probably a good idea to take notes. We're on a planet that we are not from, all of us. We were put here. The body was. We'll put it that way. And we don't know where. Kind of be nice if we do. We will eventually. That where we came from, where these bodies came from. And we have a social structure on the planet that those of us who are awake to a certain extent know is absolutely twisted. And we would like to know how to change that, shift it into, it goes to the old understanding of treat others as you would like to be treated. Respect others as you would like to be respected. Love others as you would like to be loved. Be in deep gratitude at all times. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with oneself at all times. And I'm not saying that's an easy list, because we're in habit of doing the opposite. But we do have assistance. We as a collective consciousness, we've created a massive flooding of high intensity frequencies. Deep eternal love, bliss, and happiness, joy, peace, contentment, confidence, faith, generosity. And where's that coming from? Well, it's basically the gods within us are made of those things. And as a collective consciousness, we created this field, this energetic field of pure, white, energetic light. Pure love light energy. And all of us are, and this, you should remind yourself of this, all of us are being saturated, flooded, and permeated with this. Not for a short period of time, but for a very long time. This is going to go on. So you know that the direction of this planet is not going in the direction that the low frequencies are trying to convince you it is going. It's not going there. And I believe more and more of us are beginning to understand that we really don't care to have that anymore. We've had it. We've been there and done that, so the statement goes. Through the heart mind, we say, no, we're just not interested in that at all. I'm not interested in engaging it, interacting with it, entertaining myself with it. Well, of course, unless I want a really good laugh, then, I'll look at some of these idiotic things going on, claims and laws, but understand, once we understand who has authority, who has the authority over you, there's only one answer to that. There isn't any other. You have authority over you. That's it. There's no debate there. So it's really important to step away from the mind. None of us are exempt from the mind. You know, it's something we inherit when we come into these bodies. But once we get to a point of at least acknowledging through our heart minds that we do not care to engage the mind. We don't care to think about this, think about yesterday, think about tomorrow, or think about this, or think about that. We're not interested in that. Because we've done it so many times before. Now you can eventually use the mind, which is an illusion, but you can use the mind to assist you in things. Not it directing you what to do. You assist it, right? You're assisting the mind in the ego-mind existence. But when you get to the understanding, say, wait a minute, I want my mind to assist me when I want it to assist me. And authority, do you really believe that there is authority over you on this planet other than you? There isn't any. There never was. It's such an illusion to say to a civilization that we're in charge, we're in control. We have the power. You're supposed to listen to us. Does that make any sense? So if you believe that, it will be. So if you look at, let's say, okay, in the fields of sociology, politics, all of those areas, the understandings, these are ancient understandings of authority, go all the way back to Rome, and draw later from Thomistic thought, Thomistic thought. And other forms of authority as a society has identified include what? Transitional authority, public authority, in the form of popular power. So if you really like somebody and they're popular amongst the people, then you believe that they have the power over you. Which means popular power. And in more administrative terms, bureaucratic or managerial techniques in terms of bureaucratic governments. One limitation of the governmental agents of the executive branch, right, at least in this country, which is all crap. So the reason I'm sharing this is that we begin to understand is that the meanings of some of these things that we have cowered under, right? That we are supposed to obey these popular power. And the popular power is what the people believe is what? Well, let's say Donald John Trump, popular power. Right? And believe it or not, there's a few people left in this country that believe that the facsimile of Biden is a good thing. And they're completely bicameral. They're not going to come out of that. But we address it as a collective consciousness, like on these meditations. You're talking about millions of people all over this planet that listen to these meditations. And we're going into our 6th year every day, 7 days a week, without a what? A miss. Without a miss. And eventually, that gets into the psyche of mankind, humanity. Because wherever you go, there's one of these meditations. It isn't about, people critiquing or people, this is a better meditation than this meditation. This is where it all gets miscombobulated. Meditation, simply put, is focusing on the breath. So when we understand that, then the frequencies of these meditations are not measurable because they're so high. They're not measurable. Now, when you couple that with the energy field that we've created as a collective consciousness, so that this time and this perfection of the universe that we're traveling through it for the next few thousand years, and the liberation of the planet due to the collective consciousness decision to say, enough's enough. And you can feel that vibrate in your heart mind, not the head. You'll know, you'll get kind of a light feeling, vibration in the center of your chest. And kind of a good feeling coming from within. So when you understand, now, why do we as a collective consciousness, right, afford others to rule over us? This is a question we must ask ourselves. Why do we allow others on this planet the authority and the power to rule over us? Because we give them all of that. They don't have it. We give them all of that. Well, it's kind of easy, isn't it? We do that. Because we don't have to tend it, right? We don't have to make decisions, right? They'll make the decisions. They'll do it all for us. But even when you agree with it, you say that that's how this all started. We've got to be able to have. We must have responsibility to stay front and center at all times. Just because you hire someone to represent you doesn't mean they do a good job. Okay, so we're always there. And as a collective consciousness, we are transforming that perspective, that understanding. We are eliminating politicians. They won't exist. They really won't. Some of them, should probably be cleaning latrines right now. In fact, if not all of them. But we won't need that because we'll understand what the true function that this old social structure developed. Not necessarily in this order, but power, control, and money. Not the betterment of people, or values, or perspectives, or understanding, or beliefs. We have the innate ability, once we discover our power, to basically shift all this. It isn't an issue, really. What power and authority do these low frequencies, weak-minded, very easily controlled people or beings have over us? It's zero. None. None whatsoever. But now, if you're in a lethargic position in this life where you're oblivious, so you just have no idea what's going on, except that you're walking in one direction. And this like attracts like. And this is about as many people as possible on this planet focus on what they want. It's imperative. That's the power. That's where the power lies with the people of planet Earth and the gods within these bodies. Focus on what you want. Focus on the life you want. Now, if you focus on all of this, all these shenanigans, all of this crap and falsification and fear and worry and stress and anxiety, we have a clean slate. This is coming for us because of us, not some outside force. And we will have a clean slate. I mean, everything will be perfectly clean. There won't be any residual or anything. And then, as a collective civilization, we'll determine what we're going to put there. We'll determine it. Yeah, the nice thing is, the super powerful part is that we've had the opportunity as a people to learn how not to be. Now, if you were to think maybe, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 years ago, the people then weren't, they were completely in bicameralism. They were completely unconscious. Right? Today, this civilization is not unconscious, but unfortunately, the majority of us are still in that mode of bicameralism. And that's okay, because we really aren't focused on them. We are focused on now. And what we see, we just don't care for. We don't care for the vibrational frequency of all of it. And have you ever just sat and in meditation and said, this has become boring? Hasn't it? Hasn't it become boring? I mean, when you look back 10 years ago, it's very similar, isn't it? It's old, dank, moldy, stinky. It holds no water. It's absolutely flat. And the reason, when you look at it all, not as a judge, but as a watcher, spectator, and you're seeing it all and you're going, it really is time to move on, to leave all these lower vibrational frequencies in the toilet and move on. So many of us will, in this life and other lifetimes, we will hold on to things, right? We'll hold on to things. I've known people that are holding on to things that are long gone. Long gone. I mean, so gone you couldn't find them ever again. But they're like, the difference between life and death is they're holding on to it as if they're going to lose it. And these are things that they don't need. And it's weighing them down. And it's got a lot of pressure on them, and stress and anxiety and worry and fear and disappointment. Because when you don't let go of things, emotional things, mostly for us, things that we've held on to, let's say you marry somebody, you have children, and then one of the parties begins to discredit, bash you with the children, causing the children to grow up with a tainted point of view of you. Now you have choice. Eventually those children will grow to an age where they will eventually be faced with a decision where, let's say, their mother will have no authority over them anymore. And they will be completely on their own. The universe will send into them, maybe you should try to communicate and interact with your father, so, while he's around. Now, I've seen people, I myself, my father was murdered at the age of 53, a lifer in the military. He never got out. So I grew up basically from the age of, let's say, 13 on, without a father. In fact, all of us kids, same way. And there were 5 of us. Now there's only 1. So, and you can, and for a while, you hold on to those things. You get angry, right? You get angry at that person that's no longer there. You have confrontations and anxieties and fears, and then you blame the person because if they were here, this wouldn't happen, and so on and so forth. But then you come to a full conclusion that you take responsibility for yourself, that you understand that that was not intentional, and that you move forward. You embrace it, and you forgive it, and you move forward. And so as you move forward, you feel a lot lighter. It's gone. It's out of the way. It doesn't come up, right? And it doesn't haunt you. And we have these things that we all carry with us, whatever it may be. I'm just using this for a short example. And it clouds our direction. And it's about letting go, and it's about forgiving oneself for however you've treated yourself through the years because of something that you've been holding on to, that you feel that you were thwarted, hurt, denied, abandoned, whatever the feelings are. You've got to let them go because you cannot move forward. Now, it may seem like you're moving forward, right, through the ego mind, but you're really not. And until you let go of that with peace, you'll be bound and you'll be held from moving forward. And when we realize that, okay, so we know when we go into the past, which is gone, it's gone. And we reminisce about certain things and we go over things, but we don't stay there. We know that. Yeah, there are certain things in the past that will come up in your review because you're doing something in the now and you're going, okay, so in the past, I did it this way, so I'm going to do it this way and see if it works better. There's things like that for reference. And it's the same thing with the future. Most of us are in the past yesterday or the future tomorrow. We're never in the now. Most of the people on this planet are not in the now. They are in yesterday or tomorrow. And that's why there's so much suffering on this planet. Okay? Because when we are in the ego mind's, the mastery of the ego mind over us, which is yesterday and tomorrow, we suffer. We suffer a lot. Just like people are now. Because they're looking at things. And it's, and they're being programmed. Because this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and this, we're on the verge of this, and this, and this, and this, and this. But what do you think would occur in this country alone, where the American people finally figured it out that no one has authority over them except them? And to believe that, hook, line, and sinker, within through the heart mind. To know that, to be empowered by that, to say, okay, let's clean our country up. It's time that we do. Let's clean it up. And it's like people will say, well, how do you do that? It'll come to you. In fact, don't even worry about it. It'll come to you on what to do and how to do it. Now, we have 2 choices. We really do. All of us have 2 choices. In this instant, with the planet where it is in the very now, and the civilization where it's at in the very now. What are those choices? The first one, okay, is that we choose. We choose, and no one's going to choose for you. Really, they're not. And people can talk to you until you're blue in the face. But what it really comes down to is you deciding and choosing. I no longer care to involve myself in this quackery, in this movie, because I know it's a movie. I no longer care to engage myself in it. That doesn't mean you're going to go into a cave in a mountain and stay there forever until you leave the body. It just means that you're not going to become emotionally connected. That's one decision. And the other one is the opposite. You're going to dive right in it, and you're going to, as if it's actually happening, as if it's actually real. Those are the choices that we have for the current movement of this civilization in the planet. Do we or don't we? Where are we? Where are you headed? What have you chosen the life you want to live? I mean, right down to the very detail. Have you chosen it? Have you given this to the universe without doubt, well, without fear, with full confidence, faith, and trust? And then let it go. See, now it's really interesting because we will have things like this happen to us during the course of a day, but we don't give it much. It doesn't hold much weight with us. We just kind of go, "Oh, isn't that interesting? I was just thinking about that," and boom, there it is. The power that we have is unmatchable. It really is. And see, as all of this melts away, the quackery, the fakeness, the illusions all start to melt away, and you begin to discover your power on many different fronts. And so when you get to the point where you have mastered the ego mind and you are heart-minded, and you say to yourself, I would like this to manifest for me. And you would become so excellent at it is that it would be absolutely a no-brainer. You would literally intend it, and it would be materialized. This is where we're going. But see, when you look at the current scope of things, we have a tendency to judge them. And why is this happening? What did I do to deserve this? This seems like it's never going to end. It seems like it's getting worse and worse every day. Now understand the power there. Just what that person just said, and just those words. And the power that they don't realize that they have, and what they just put out to the universe. Huge, huge. But see, being controlled by the ego mind, you don't think about that. You put all that out there, and you get more of the same that comes back to you. And then, of course, what happens in most cases, you get more and more frustrated, right? And more agitated. And what does that do? It keeps moving your vibrational frequency lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. But at the same time, most people don't know that. They don't have a clue to it. They're just expressing their emotions. But they don't know what they're doing. See, that's how dangerous it is. When you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how powerful you are, what do you think is going to happen? And you're manifesting things on a continual basis, 24/7, as long as you're in that body. But you don't know it. We have such a magnificent, magna-glorious, stupendous direction that we're in right now. It's immeasurable, off the charts. And it's along the way, as a collective consciousness, as we all are, the gods that we are in these bodies, we will make decisions on what to put into place. So this is why it's so important, and it actually always is, throughout our existence, is to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Now, we all know that we will create things for ourselves that's challenging at times. It doesn't matter, that as far as everything's concerned, you will throw some curveballs in there, but you won't be consciously aware of it. But you'll put them in there, just the same. Not to damage you, not to harm you or anything, but deep eternal love through the heart-mind to challenge you. And it's so difficult because we're walking a fine line. And the fine line is that you intend, but you don't doubt. That's crucial. You intend, right? You say, this is the life I want to live. I am deeply grateful for the life in this very now moment that I have. This is the life I want to live. This is the life I want for me. We all deserve the best of everything. That's hands down. We're pure divine perfection in these bodies as the gods that we truly are. The body, as we all know, is temporary. So, but to enjoy the body as most we can is to understand what the relationship is. And then the discoveries, they never stop. They're never ending. Because isn't it very fulfilling for any of us to learn something, right? Without the ego mind involved. But to learn something and embrace it and feel so wonderful about it that it doesn't matter what other people think, feel, or say about you. All that matters is that, are you happy? And you ask yourself, am I happy? Why shouldn't I be? I am happy. Where's the happiness? The God within me. So if someone says, are you happy with this so-called government? Are you happy with it? And you say, no, I'm not. I am not happy with it. I want it to go. So your focus goes over there, right? But see, when you say I want it to go, you aren't being specific. I want it to go could mean a lot of things. But then you say, what? Wait a minute. I have a detailed description of what I want to go, what I want to have go. And we have, see, this is the crazy thing. We all have omnipotent power to do all this without even lifting a finger. So then you gravitate towards, how silly is this? How silly is all of this on this planet? Instead of progressing forward, right? Instead of unifying as a people, because we're all, it doesn't matter who your parents were or are. It doesn't matter who your, 10 great-grandparents beyond that were. We're all one family. We really are. And when we start embracing that understanding and practicing it with deep eternal love, gratitude, peace, and contentment, and bliss, this is going to change everything. instantaneously, without fail. And then guess what happens? The people of this planet will start embracing their power. And it won't be a situation where the ego mind and, hey, look at me and I'm better than you, that is gone. But it will be a total filling of joy, bliss, and gratitude, and peace, and benevolence, and tranquility. It'll all be there. And you'll know that it's bubbling up from the God that you are within the body. So, you see, we are eliminating the infrastructure of planet Earth. And what does that encompass? All of it. All of it. The social construct, right, currently, will be vaporized. And there will be a new one that will be born from us, from the collective consciousness. And you will notice that the things that were in the old one are completely nowhere to be found in the new one. You see, as these puzzle pieces start fitting together, you start to realize and you feel the harmonic energy that you're experiencing with me making these statements. Because it's a fact. And what do we have? We have the ability to transform everything, new social structure, new technologies, the elimination of slavery, and the introduction of freedom. Now we all know that the freedom that we draw towards is the freedom of the God that we are in the body. Now, when you identify the fact that the body is not free in this social structure because of how it's been designed and engineered, it's a bunch of tomfoolery. When we look at that, we say, okay, I can see this clearly. And it is not something I care to engage with anymore. And you'll feel a lifting, a release. And you will also understand is that there's no motivation for me to make judgment or pass judgment over anyone or anything. This is the path to the dark side. It is. And let's say when you get angry, right, and you don't diffuse the anger by shifting gears into higher frequencies of gratitude, what do you think is going to happen? Well, you'll keep sending that communication out to the universe and you'll keep getting more. And then some people say, well, they don't care to have more. Well, most people say they don't want, which is low frequency, which it tells the universe that you want. So whatever you say you don't want, you're going to get. It isn't complicated. It's us to know where we're at as a civilization in this very moment, this very now. And how many of us in this country alone are relaxed, content, at peace with ourselves and everything around us? How many of us are really at that understanding? Well, not many. There are some. But some is all we need anyway. We don't need the majority. It's just, we need some. And we have some. It's like there's a lot of people out there saying they don't care to have global thermonuclear war on the planet. They're not interested in it. Therefore, they don't care to have it. And they put that out to the universe. And also, we don't care to have a lot of things that we've all experienced in different ways, indirectly or directly, throughout these lives. So we kind of know. It doesn't mean we have to experience every single avenue, because others will create things for themselves that are totally different than the things you're creating for yourself as far as challenge in this life and understanding of who and what you are. It's like I choose to be happy because the God I am is happy. Not because of, that bright blue ball is mine now. 2 o'clock. Okay. Does that make any sense to you? And it starts with every morning and every night and during the course of the day. It isn't something that we visit on occasion. It's something that we should be visiting all the time. And remember, it isn't a race. So there's no need to rush anything, but to embrace it and to choose on your own to embrace it is paramount. And we have manifested everything into place in this very moment to adjust the outcome and the timeline of this particular timeline in this very now of the planet and the civilization in this very now. What does that mean? Well, we've experienced more things, of which we know that we've learned we don't care to have in the new earth, in the new society, right? So what changes? See, the old society is corrupted. It's corrupted to the bone. It isn't even worth saving. You vaporize it out, completely gone. So what's the new infrastructure? The new infrastructure goes along with our God within us, and knowing that the God, that's what we are within the body, and respectability, love for oneself and everything else, right? Do unto others as you would like to have done unto you. So you practice these things. You practice them. And it almost starts to fit like a glove. Not at first, though. At first you're going, oh, this is too big. This is too tight. Oh, no, I don't care to have it. It's uncomfortable. So I'm just not going to deal with it. But then as you dip into it more and more, you start saying, you know something? I got to get used to this. I really like this. And what we're doing right now in this very moment is we're creating a new society. Period. Out with the old, in with the new. And the new is totally opposite of the old. When you get angry in the old social structure, when you get angry with yourself, you get angry with others. Okay? In the new social structure, you don't get angry because you choose to put your energies and frequencies into a higher level. where you focus on what you want, not what you don't want. So you shift those gears. So anger, in the true sense of the word, will not exist. Now, anger does exist with 3D. It isn't going to exist in 5D. Not like you would think. Is it still there in a different form? Yeah. But not like this, not like this dimension, not like this frequency, where you get angry and sometimes you end another, right? Which is, again, it holds no water. So as we turn this, in which we already have as a collective consciousness, we know we can understand that we're doing this. We are, all of us. We're doing this. As soon as you drop back down into lower frequencies, see, each time you do, it will become much more distasteful. Where you will immediately know, okay, so I got wandered off and just dumped in over here, so I'm going to push my energies into the opposite direction, and I will be freed from all of this. And we will have great reverence and love for ourselves and everything else and everyone else. And that's going to expand, because you will begin to understand is that you, the 3D you, is going to be no more. And you will be 5D. And this is all frequency. The higher you go up, the higher the frequency. The more knowledge, the more advancement, the more understanding you have. Now, I could guarantee you that if 60,000 years from now, and you go into the archives, right? You're curious. You say, I wonder what the society was like 60,000 years ago. Boom, it shows you. So what does it show you? You would be talking about the fact that, wow, look at how our ancestors lived back then. I mean, they would get in arguments and threaten to blow each other up and destroy the planet. Do you believe that? See, those would be discussions just for giggles. And people will realize how deeply grateful they are to have experienced enough to exit the matrix and to navigate oneself into the now and focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And it's going to be magic. There's no turning back. It's dead ahead, straight ahead. I'll join you in a meditation, and I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath in, out from the mouth. Remain still. You can always choose to be at peace with what is. At any moment of your life, you can decide to accept this life's circumstances instead of resist or judge it. The result is total fulfillment and joy on every level of your being. It is your choice, each moment, where you choose to focus your attention on what you want or what you don't want. So for the rest of the day, your assignment today is to only focus on what you want and be at peace with what you don't want. Entertain the feelings of being at peace no matter what occurs in your outer world. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. And we will return Wednesday, May 2nd, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the deepest, deepest, deepest of eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on out there.